Hi everyone, it's Myriam, and for this week's video I have part 2 of my hand paintings. I don't know if you guys remember, but a few weeks ago I did a trio of gouache hands, and in that video I mentioned that I had another few hand sketches that I wanted to paint and that I would probably paint them in watercolour, so here they are. I painted all of those hands with my Winsor&Newton watercolour palette. I think it's a 24 half pan palette. And obviously all my materials as usual will be in the description down below if you guys want to have a look. Each painting took me about half an hour, I'd say. It felt really good going back to watercolour actually, because I hadn't used them properly in a while, and it just felt so much quicker than gouache, and I was doubting myself less. And even though in those hands I actually tried to go for a slightly different aesthetic than what I usually go for in watercolour. For skin tones especially, I used to go for a very subtle kind of delicate look, and for those hands I didn't actually want to do that. I wanted to go for something quite saturated and high contrast with a lot of layers. And I was actually practicing because I am going to be exhibiting a few creature painting in the London IMATS 2017 museum in a few weeks, and I wanted my creature paintings to actually look quite realistic and quite highly saturated and with a lot of detail, and so I wanted to practice doing more layers in watercolour than we used to. And actually, talking about creature paintings, I was wondering if any of you guys would mind if I shared some of my creature paintings on this channel. I know it's not necessarily this kind of style that you're used to seeing if you've watched my videos for a little bit. I tend to be much more muted in my creepiness on this channel for some reason. I think because I've been experimenting with a bunch of other avenues, but creature design and creature concept art is just definitely up my alley. It's the kind of thing that actually got me into my current profession, which is prosthetic makeup, and so creatures are dear to my heart, and I tend to go a bit creepy on them, I'll be honest, and so it might not be for everyone, and I just wanted to ask you guys first before I post any kind of creepy creatures on here, just to get a bit of feel of, you know, the terrain and what you guys would like to see, or if you really don't think it's your thing, or if you'd still be interested in seeing that kind of work from me, something that's not quite as pretty and just a bit more creepy. Yeah, just let me know. I've filmed a lot of them, so if you guys want to see them, I'll be more than happy to edit them and upload them. Anyway, back to the paintings. I'll talk quickly about what kind of layering I'm doing on those hands, because I actually went through almost exactly the same process for each one of them, and that is laying down first a wash of yellow, not too saturated but still quite bright and lively, and then on top of that to put down a first layer of shadow and kind of get the idea of kind of blood running through the skin a little bit, mixed with the ambient light. I put down quite a bright layer of saturated orange, and then a tiny bit of green blue to kind of counteract that orange a little bit. And I then wait for that to dry, and then I go back in with some red and just a general wash of red that's a bit more intense in the shadows, and then I add again some orange and again some blue, and I just keep layering that orange and that blue on top of the shadow areas, and then I add some reds for the areas where there tends to be a bit more of that blood flow showing, so tip of the fingers, the joints, and a little bit on the bulk of the palm basically. And for this hand in particular, there was a bit more light play, so right now I'm kind of lifting a little bit of the watercolour on the tip of the fingers to give a bit of that idea of light reflecting on top of the end of the fingers. For some reason, that kind of cone of light that I'm drawing right now seems to be recurring a little bit in my work at the minute. I've drawn it quite a bit in a lot of other different pieces. I'm not quite sure why, it just seems to be a recurring theme at the minute. I quite like it. But anyway, so in this last painting here, I actually wanted to practice an effect that I wanted to apply to one of my bigger pieces, which you might have seen on my Instagram actually, because I think I posted a work in progress on there, and that was translucency. So this hand is basically a hand with a black snake that is curled around the fingers, and I wanted the tip of the fingers to be slightly translucent so you could see the snake going round and behind the fingers. And actually, I'll quickly talk about what I applied on the snake on this picture that you can see has a slightly yellow tint and seems to reflect the light. And that is drawing gum. So for those of you who might not be very familiar with what it is, it's a latex-like liquid that air dries, and you apply it with a brush on the areas that you don't want to paint, but are kind of in the way of other areas, and so would be difficult to avoid painting if you want to paint the rest of your painting. And it will, once it's completely dry, it plastifies the paper in a sense and avoids you applying paint to that area. So once the areas that you have actually painted are completely dry, you can then kind of slightly rub the area where you've applied drawing gum, and the drawing gum will come off, and you can then start painting the paper that was underneath the drawing gum, and that is completely white and preserved. So I used that drawing gum on there to avoid painting the snake while I was painting the rest of the hand. And then in a minute, well, here we go, right on time, I then removed the drawing gum, and I can now start painting the snake itself because the paper isn't protected anymore. So yeah, this is my third and final hand. If you guys enjoyed those hand paintings, I'd be more than happy to do some more. I've actually posted all of my hand paintings on my Society 6, and so you can buy apparel and bags and cases with those designs on there. And these hands in particular, we have the originals and prints, as well as a pack of 3 that are at a reduced price on my store envy within the week. Oh, and by the way, I really wanted to mention before I forget, I'm going to reach 5,000 followers in the next week, or a bit more maybe, and so I wanted to do a Q&A maybe for that milestone. So if you guys have any questions about me, my life, my art, anything, feel free to post them here or on Instagram, and I'll make sure to include them in my Q&A for the 5,000 subscribers video. I'm afraid I can't do a giveaway this time because I am terribly broke and my money is running out quite quickly, and I just can't afford to do a giveaway at the minute. But I will definitely do a giveaway for 10k, obviously, because that definitely deserves it. And but in the meantime, I'd love to do a Q&A for you guys if you have any questions for me. And obviously, thank you so much to all of you. Some of you have been hunting me down on Instagram and saying that you loved my work on there and that you found me through YouTube, and honestly, you guys make it all so nice and just drive me so much to keep drawing and keep doing my art there. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. You truly mean a lot to me, and I'm truly thankful. But anyway, we're getting to the end of this video, so as usual, you guys can find me on Instagram for the stuff that I don't actually post on YouTube, so work in progress and sketches and creature designs that I'm too afraid to post on here yet, and the like. All the links for my social media and any way you can help me and any way I've got my art on the internet is down in the description below, as well as all the materials I used in this video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this second installment of my hand paintings. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I hope I'll see you again next week and that you are all really well. And I'll see you soon. Bye everyone.